Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the almost weekly web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, I want you to join us for a low carb pancake battle. So grab a drink, grab a snack, get settled, and let's get started. Now, I have a little bit of a confession to make. I'm not a huge pancake fan. I know, that's kind of weird to say. Even on my old way of eating, the sad way of eating, standard American diet, when I would have been allowed pancakes, which actually got me where I am now. Even during that time, if I were at a restaurant somewhere, a local place, or say an IHOP, International House of Pancakes, or a Denny's, or one of those places that you stop along the roadside, a lot of their dishes come with a pancake as a side, and I would always substitute out a biscuit or maybe some sourdough bread or something like that. I just wasn't a big pancake fan. So you're going to get this review from somebody who's not a super big pancake fan, but this is one of the most requested videos on my channel, is pancakes. And there's a lot of low carb versions. So what we've done today is broken down pancakes into basically four types, and that's what we're going to do here today and taste them all. The first is coconut flour. The second is, of course, almond flour. The third has no nut flours or grains or glutens at all, and is basically cream cheese and eggs, basically. And then the fourth is a wild card, and you're going to find out what I mean by that here in a minute. So let's get started. The first of these is almond flour pancakes. Almond flour pancakes, gluten-free, by Low Carb Yum. And we've made a lot of things, as you know, from their stable of recipes, and all of their stuff is really good. Now, you've got to be careful about these pancake recipes because some of them are literally for one serving. They make like 2 pancakes for one person, which is great. Some of them, like this one, is 4 servings and makes 12 pancakes. One of the recipes that I saw made 24 pancakes. So just be aware of what you're getting into before you start making recipes. But this one is our almond flour option, so let's get started. This is why you sift, kids. This is why you sift. That would just be a nightmare in your batter. It would never dissolve. So just run this through a fine mesh sieve. If you don't have that's what I do. I have a flour sifter, but this works just as easy. The other ingredient in this is sparkling water. And if you've ever made tempura batter, it often has seltzer water or club soda or something fizzy in it that kind of helps with the airy, light, fluffy nature of the batter. And that's obviously what Low Carb Yum is doing here, using some sparkling water to try to increase the fluffiness of this batter. So that's what we're going to do. You know, I'm also a little bit shy about giving total ingredient amounts in this because if I like the recipes, I want you to go visit the people that created these recipes, that did the hard work here. Yeah, we're trying them and we're testing them, but I didn't do this work. So if I find a recipe that I like, which we usually try to do every episode, I want to send you to their website or their Facebook page so that they get some credit and some props for doing the hard work of actually making these recipes. So if I don't list exact specific measurements, sometimes that's exactly why. It's not out of absent-mindedness, which I am easily capable of, but generally this is on purpose. All right, and I also need 2 eggs. I need 2 tablespoons of oil, and this is where it gets a little sketchy. It just says 2 tablespoons of oil, and I'm not sure why they didn't say 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I mean, on a keto and low carb, high fat diet, our goal here is to increase our fat intake, but it's got to be healthy fats. And when you just say oil, a lot of people think that means vegetable oil or corn oil, dear God, or canola oil. And those are really high in PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. And we get plenty of those on our diet. We need omega-3 fatty acids, monounsaturated fatty acids, or saturated fat. Those are the healthy fats, grass-fed saturated. So when it says 2 tablespoons of oil, yeah, you could go get some Wesson oil or Crisco or some other, general vegetable oil, but that is not the way I recommend you going. If in an instance like this, unless it says butter, which the next time I make this, if I do make it again, I'd probably add melted butter, but we're following the recipe. I would probably use melted coconut oil or light olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is a little too pungent in flavor for baked goods like this, but light olive oil is what I make my mayonnaise out of. and it is a good alternative to extra virgin olive oil or some other oils. So that's what we're using here today, but I try to steer clear of vegetable oil whenever possible. And the other ingredients are our sweetener, our baking powder, and our salt. And for sweetener, this calls for Swerve or Splenda. I'm not a big Splenda fan, and I am a Swerve fan, but I'm lately been using Sucrin. Their products really, to be erythritol based, they don't have a lot of the super cooling flavor to me that Swerve sometimes offer. And even though I can find Swerve locally, and sometimes it's a few bucks cheaper for a large bag of it, I'm kind of doing the Sucrin stuff. I'm enjoying it a little bit more. Anyway, that's what we're using here. So we've got everything together. We're just going to mix this up. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We've got our batter made, our griddle is hot, and this is literally just a cheap little griddle, like 25 bucks. And if you make a lot of pancakes for a family, this is so much easier than making one at a time or two at a time in a skillet. This guy is worth it. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of coconut oil spray just for safety's sake so we don't make a mess here. See what happens. Sounds good. They're going to spray out a little bit more than I thought they were. So now the secret to a low carb pancake is sort of exactly like the secret to a regular pancake. You leave them alone until you start to see some bubbles that once they bubble up, they don't fill in. You know, the first few bubbles, the batter will come back in and fill in. Leave these alone. Do not try to touch them or move them. They're going to break apart, and we're trying to keep them together. So wait until some bubbles form, and then we'll flip them. Stay tuned. As far as macros go, all of these hover around 3 net carbs per serving. Some are less, or some are a little bit more. I'll put those up on the screen here for you to see as we make each recipe. I'm going to run the numbers myself. As you know, I do not trust printed digits, macros. So get away. Okay, so dun 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 dun. Let's see if we can flip these. I'm just going to peeky pie underneath, and it's almost ready to flip. So I'm going to do it. Oh, that's pretty. We got one more we're going to do here. Flip. And then this was a sort of, I didn't get all of the batter that needed to be there. So these just need a few more minutes to cook here, and then we're going to taste them. Again, all of these are going to do great with some sort of low carb syrup. A lot of people now I bought some just to try it, but I don't really maybe recommend it. It's the Mrs. Butterworth's. Log Cabin makes one, several different brands of sugar-free syrup. And this has 0 carbs, because it is sugar alcohols. But what bothers me, I don't mind sugar alcohols. The main ingredient in every single one of these that I found in the grocery store that says that they're sugar-free is sorbitol. And sorbitol is a sugar alcohol, but every single one of them also adds aspartame. Why? Isn't the sorbitol enough? Do you have to throw in the cancer to go along with it? Miss Butterworth? Leave out the aspartame. Why are you going to put in all those sugar alcohols and then squirt in a little squirt of cancer right at the end? Please don't do that. So again, you're probably not your best bet. Here's what I would prefer to do. A lot of people will melt some grass-fed butter or just butter, melted butter, and then add some maple extract to it. And that is probably delicious. Add a little bit of a low-carb sweetener, heat it up so that you have some warm syrup, a little bit of Swerve or something like that, or stevia, and some butter and some maple syrup extract. Probably pretty good. Now, these certainly look like pancakes, don't they? You probably can't tell they're anything different than a regular pancake. Let's see what's up. I think these need probably 30 more seconds and we're ready to go. We'll taste them. You just want the insides to cook, but you don't want the outsides to brown or get crispy. We're not trying to make fry bread here. We're trying to make pancakes. So let's take them up. I'll take them up in order of size, largest on the bottom. Might put a pat of butter between them. Another one. And dinner baby. So voila, those are pretty. Those are some nice pancakes. And if you told me that those were low carb, Nobody would be any the wiser. They look delicious. So they're scalding hot, but since they're warm, I'm going to take a little triangle here and try them. They're going to be dry because, well, truthfully, all pancakes are dry to me. But these have no syrup. Ooh. Oh, that's good. That's real good. I probably would have added a little bit of vanilla to the batter. But those are delicious, and the pancake syrup, whatever you're going to use, butter and syrup, are going to make up for that. Those are beautiful. Look at them. They're kind of thin. They're kind of on the thin side. But I'm impressed. These are going on the back burner just to stay warm. We're going to cook the other 3 recipes. I'll meet you right back here. Stay tuned. All right, now we're back for our second recipe, and it's going to be hard to beat that last one. It was pretty good. Our second one is by thebigmansworld.com. That sounds like a recipe I can get behind. This is our coconut flour recipe, and there's also a little bit of a helper in this, and that is beaten egg whites. As you know, if you fold in beaten egg whites into any kind of batter, you get a lot of lift. And that's that's Big Man's trick here. So let's see if it holds up. Ready? Okay, now this starts with our coconut flour, and again, you gotta sift this. There's really no way around it. And now we are going to add the other dry ingredients. This is the sweetener, this is baking powder, this is the salt. Give that a quick whisk to incorporate it. And now we've got, you can't really see it, but this is 3 egg whites. And we're gonna beat this until we get fluffy peaks. It has to be a clean glass or metal bowl. Plastic generally has residual oils on it that keep your egg whites from rising. So clean glass or metal bowl, preferably cold, and do not get any of the egg yolks in it or they won't mix. So stay tuned. All right, so we've got our eggs beaten to to soft peaks. And the secret ingredient in this is a tablespoon, just a tablespoon, of either mashed pumpkin, applesauce, mashed sweet potato, or yogurt of choice. I have chosen to use mashed pumpkin. This isn't really for flavor. And mashed pumpkin, yes, has some carbs in it, but it's got a ton of fiber, and we're only using a tablespoon. I would suspect in this recipe, it just needs something to give it some body so that it doesn't crumble apart. If you just had egg whites and coconut flour, there's nothing of fiber to act as gluten. So I imagine that's what this tablespoon of pumpkin puree does. So to our dry ingredients, we're going to add the egg whites and this pumpkin. So let's see what happens. You don't want to go too crazy here because you don't want to beat down all the fluff you've done with your eggs. So be careful. I'm just going to put in a few at a time. Okay, in addition to these egg whites, the recipe says to use 1/4 to 1/2. Good Lord, I'm making a mess. Use 1/4 to 1/2 of non-dairy milk to this to create a batter, but quote unquote, do not overmix. So, as you can see, this is a pretty stiff stuff we've got here. It says to add it a tablespoon at a time. That you may not need 1/4 to 1/2, or that you may need more. So, that's pretty vague here, Big Man's World. This is one of those recipes that serves one. This is one serving. So that's respectable. I kind of appreciate that. If you need more, double the recipe. So, I forgot the 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. And just the last one, I said that's what was missing. Leave it to me, Wesley. Give this a spritzenzy. And let's layer down. 1, 2. And I'm going to tell you right now that those should have been probably a little lighter and a little more liquid. Okay, so we're just going to let these do their thing here on the grill. I will put the macros here on the side for you to see once I work these over myself and let you know what these come to. As you can tell, these are a lot thicker than the other one. There really are no bubbles for me to judge by. Ooh, they need a few more minutes, but these are going to be precarious to turn, I can tell you right now. Give that maybe 30 more seconds and we're going to flip. So let's turn them, see what we can do. You got to get under it good. Oh, those are pretty. Those are really, really pretty. Oh, they're big and fat and fluffy. Big man's world. Okay, so we're going to take these up now. They are beautiful and thick and fluffy. And this was one serving. It made one serving or 2 pancakes, which is pretty nice. Let's see what they taste like. So I'm just going to pull them up. They are soft and really delicate. Those egg whites really did a nice number for us. Ta 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 ta! They are beautiful and thick. Yeah, look at that. So, they're scalding hot, and y'all know I love to just burn my face off on this kind of stuff. So I'm going to come on here on the fluffy side and pull me a triangle out of this and see what is up. Now, look at that. Look at that. Those are beautiful. They're hot. Wicked scalding hot. But see what the egg whites did for us? Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to only take one of them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Truth be told, they probably needed 30 more minutes. The inside is super moist and fluffy. It just dissolves on your tongue the way that wheat pancakes would. Wow. I don't know if it's that little tablespoon of pumpkin that did it or what, but those don't even need. This thing calls for coconut butter vanilla glaze, which, hello, that sounds fabulous. Coconut butter, dairy-free milk and granulated sugar and vanilla. That sounds delicious, but you don't even need anything. These are so flavorful. All right, let's get ready for number 3. I'll put these on the back burner. We're gonna test them all with a little bit of syrup on them when we get done. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back for our 3rd recipe. The other 2 are waiting on us behind us. And this is cream cheese pancakes, low carb and keto by I Breathe, I'm Hungry. There are only 4 ingredients in this recipe. Cream cheese, eggs, a tablespoon of granulated sugar substitute, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Sorry, a teaspoon of granulated sugar substitute and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. So not much. And you put them in a blender, blend them, wait a couple of minutes for the bubbles to settle down, and then make your pancakes. This says it makes 4 pancakes, but it doesn't tell me how many servings there are. Based on the ingredients, I'm guessing that it's 1 serving. But also what this says is these delicious low-carb cream cheese pancakes taste like skinny fried cheesecakes. That sounds delicious. But the skinny part worries me because pancakes aren't skinny. All right, so we're going to oil this down good. Now, this also said that it makes 4 pancakes. I'm just going to make 2 of them, and I'm scared I'm going to pour a third of this out or a fourth of this out, and it's going to literally cover the whole thing. So let's see what happens. Ready? Ooh, so let's set this aside. All right, so we're ready to flip these, I believe. They're thin, so it doesn't take long to get. I don't know that one. Alexa's talking to me. Alexa, hush.
Thanks for letting me know.
That was not a sponsored advertisement. Thank you. All right, so we need to flip these, and boy, they're thin. They look like a crepe, like I suggested, and she says like skinny fried cheesecakes. It doesn't take long on this second side. So I'm going to go ahead and yank them. I think they're done. Biggest on the bottom, smallest on the top. And those look pretty, but they are thin. That doesn't mean they're bad. So let's see what they taste like. Definitely, this is the only one with cinnamon in it, and I can tell you that there's cinnamon in it. So let's take a little square and see what happens. Ooh, they're so tiny. Very tiny. These taste like skinny fried cheesecakes. No, they don't. No, they do not. No, they do not. They're not terrible. I mean, I'm not like bleh. The other two recipes were much better. To me, personally. Anyway, on the back burner, let's try the fourth recipe. Okay, and now we're back with our fourth and final recipe, and this is the one that I call the wild card. And I'm going to ask you to bear with me here. This is something that a lot of you probably are going to balk at, but we're doing pancakes, so I got to try it. Yeah, I know. I know. It's probably not the perfect food. Yes, it comes with a lot of specious ingredients. Wheat, soy, wheat. But technically, it's low carb. And this is highfalutin low carb. If you are strict keto, if you are strict paleo, whole 30, any of those, Banting, any of those, this probably isn't the recipe for you. But since I bought the restaurant package of this last time I bought it, we're going to make some pancakes with it and see what's up. So let's try. By the by, this is one of the front of the box literally, you can't even see it, literally has pancakes on it right there, pea-pie. So I have halved this recipe because the recipe makes 10 servings. So let's see what it tastes like. Why not? So this recipe is basically Carbquick, an egg, melted butter, and water and heavy cream, and you cook it. So let's see what happens. What is suspiciously absent from this recipe is vanilla or cinnamon or a sweetener. There's none of that in this. So definitely this recipe is relying on you to use some sort of alternative topping with a sweetener or some sort of flavor, because I mean this is literally the biscuit recipe from Carbquick. It says not to mix it too much, so I ain't gonna go crazy. We're at a point where we're ready to turn these. They are seriously like 2 inches thick. They are massively tall. They look beautiful, I gotta say. Regardless of how they taste or what's in them, they look good. Holy smokes. Okay. Oh, yes. Those are beautiful. Freaking beautiful. Yes, sir. Okay, so we're back. This is our wild card recipe, the last one we're testing, and they're almost ready to pull up. Now, I'm going to be honest, these are thick and beautiful. When we first started, they rose considerably. After flipping, they've kind of shrunk down a little bit, but of the ones that we've made today, these are the thickest and the fluffiest. But as we know, with Carbquick, I'm kind of skeptical. I mean, come on. Those look beautiful. They're going to be thick and gorgeous, but that's not, I mean, look at that. That's not 1 serving. That's 2 servings. So don't get too excited. So let's taste them. Again, they're going to be hot as a barrel of monkeys. Let's see. I'm going to come over here. Take a triangle. Ooh, they hot, but they are pretty. I mean, of the ones that we've made, these are the most pancake-like. Ooh, they're hot. Yeah, it tastes like biscuits. Oh, they're hot. Okay. They're kind of good. They're kind of good. Damn, I did not want them to be good because it's Carbquick, and I don't know why I have something against Carbquick, but everybody does, so I feel like I have to have something against them too. Because yeah, there's wheat in there, and that's not keto, that's not paleo, that's not Whole 30. But with the carb counts, it's low carb. They're pretty dang good. Okay. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that of all the things that I made, can I be honest? Those were the best ones. Those were the best ones. You know why? Wheat. There's wheat in this. All right, let's line them all up before I say anything. I'm going to squirt a little syrup on them, see what we come up with. Stay tuned. This is the almond flour pancakes gluten-free by Low Carb Yum. They were delicious, they were fluffy, and truth be told, every one of these was really good. It just depends on what you want to choose for ingredients and how much work you want to go through. The second one we made were healthy, fluffy, low-carb pancakes by the Big Man's World, and these were great. These were coconut flour, but also had some beaten egg whites whipped in and folded in at the end, and that's why they're so fluffy and thick. The third ones we did were cream cheese pancakes, low carb and keto by I Breathe, I'm Hungry. And boy, these are small. These are more crepes than what I would call a pancake, which isn't bad. It's just not the big fluffy thick pancake like you would think you were going out to buy at a restaurant. And then lastly is the one that, gosh, I don't know why I want to dislike it, but the beauty of Carbquick. And doggone if it wasn't pretty good. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna spray some Mrs. Butterworth's low carb syrup, and don't you come after me about this. This is something I have never purchased in my entire life, and I'm not a pancake fan. But we're gonna try it. So simmer down, don't come after me about this. If you don't want to use this, make your own. It's fine. I normally would too, probably. But I just made 4 stacks of pancakes. So I took all the time I had. So Mrs. Butterworth, do us right. We're going to just pour some. Oh, my Lord. You got to take her hat off. Pour a little on this. And let's see what they taste like. First one is our almond flour pancakes. Let's see. That is good. Pancakes. Tastes like pancakes. If I was at Bob's Pancake Diner in the middle of Petonki, Wisconsin, I'd be like, Bob, them some good pancakes. Kind of hard to argue with that. Second one is our coconut flour. Pretty. Anything rubbed all up in that Mrs. Butterworth is probably going to be good. I could probably take a shoe and rub it in that and be good. Yeah. Shoe or not. Ooh. I almost stumbled. That's good. That's good. As I chew it more, that has a little bit less texture. The almond flour has some substance to it as opposed to just mush like the coconut flour, but both are actually pretty darn good. This is the least appetizing looking of the bunch, and she's flat out, this is from I Breathe, I'm Hungry, and she said these taste like skinny fried cheesecakes, and while I didn't think so, let's see it with some syrup. Yep. They're okay. Imagine if you took a flour tortilla and put it on your plate and poured syrup on it. That's kind of what that is. Not a lot there. And then lastly, the ones that look the most like a frickin' pancake, Carbquick. It's beautiful. That's pretty good. Of these four, I'll just tell you in order of best to worst for me personally. Big Man's World, number 1. Carbquick, number 2. The almond flour from Low Carb Yum, that's number 3. And lastly is the cream cheese pancakes from I Breathe, I'm Hungry. So there you have it. I wouldn't really say there's a winner here. It seems like, truthfully, pancakes are one of the easier conversions into the low carb world for whatever reason. I guess it's easy to make things rise on a hot griddle. So for better or worse, find a recipe, make it, and see what you think. I want to thank you for joining us. Truthfully, these videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, but I really appreciate that you come along for the journey. So if you're not a subscriber, I ask that you subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Those things help me to grow. If you like what we're doing here, I want other people to know about the joys of low carb living, because I'm feeling great, losing weight, and having a great time doing it. So I thank you. If you are a subscriber, hit the bell button down below. That'll let you know as soon as I release a new video. Sometimes YouTube doesn't like to let you know when people release videos unless you hit that notification bell down below. And I also want to mention that a couple of people have asked me if I have a Patreon account. And I'll be honest, I haven't set one up, and I don't know why. I assumed that this channel would never have grown like it has, but it has. Apparently you guys are having as much fun as I'm having doing this, and that excites me. So if you want to contribute, I'm not asking you to, but Patreon is a way for people who enjoy creators to reward them and help sponsor them or patron them and help with some of the expenses. This is not an easy or cheap, inexpensive channel to run. We have a lot of ingredients. I spend a lot of time on these videos. So Patreon is a way for people like you who appreciate what people like me do, and you can contribute $1, $2 a month, something small that helps me keep the Highfalutin headquarters open and keep all this going. I myself am a patron of several other YouTube channels, some in the keto world and some outside of the keto world. I'm a cord cutter. I don't have, I don't have cable. I cut the cord. So my entertainment comes from YouTube channels, and instead of paying my cable bill, I contribute $1 or $2 or $3 to my favorite creators on YouTube. And if that's something that you're interested in, go to my Patreon account. I'll put the link down below. It's also in the video description. But if not, that doesn't matter. I'm still going to do this. So come along for the ride. We're having a ball over here. And I hope you are too. So join us, and we'll see you next time.